Mrs. D, and welcome back to my channel. Today I will be preparing a lemon pound cake. This lemon pound cake is a request from my big sister, and I am happy to oblige. If you visited my channel before, you know that I love using gadgets. Some of the gadgets that I'll be using today are this lemon zester, or this zester, not necessarily a lemon zester, but this zester. I'll be using my cake tester. I'll be using this juicer. Now, although I don't use my scale in front of you, I prepared all of my ingredients ahead of time using this scale. And soon, if you keep watching, I'm going to come out with a video showing you how you can save time using a scale, measuring out all your ingredients. And I'll also be using my grandmother's cake tin. I talked about this cake tin on one of my previous videos. I think it was the one, the cinnamon roll cake, and how much this cake tin means to me. So if you are interested in learning how to bake a lemon pound cake, please continue watching. Okay, the ingredients that you'll need for this recipe are all-purpose flour, baking powder, and salt, of which I've already added to this bowl. You'll need eggs, unsalted butter, sugar, sour cream, milk, the zest of one lemon, lemon juice. You'll also need vanilla extract. Now this recipe calls for 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract, but because I want to taste the lemon flavor, I added 1 teaspoon of lemon extract and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. For the glaze, you'll need powdered sugar and 3 additional tablespoons of lemon juice. Okay, let's get started. Now we're going to take our room temperature butter. I don't think I mentioned this, but make sure for this particular recipe that all of your dairy products, including your eggs, are at room temperature. So we're going to take our room temperature unsalted butter and add that to our mixer along with our sugar, and we are going to beat this. Now the recipe says 5 minutes, but I know that this creaming process is one of the most important processes in making a cake. You want to make sure that your sugar and your butter are creamed together really well so that your cake comes out nice and fluffy. So we're going to beat this together until it's smooth for about, it says 5 minutes, but a little bit longer until it's creamy. And the recipe says on a low speed. So we're going to do this for about 5 minutes. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so while the butter and sugar are creaming together, I hope that you can hear me. I decided that today I'd tell you a little bit about myself. My love of baking, of course, came from my grandmother. I think I told you guys that in a previous video. But when I was raising my kids, I have 4 sons. I have 4 sons. I'm married. I've been married now for over 30 some odd years. My husband's gonna laugh because the running joke between he and I is I can never remember how long I've been married. But I tell him it doesn't matter because I'm not going anywhere. So we have 4 sons, and my husband used to travel a lot when my sons were little. And I started baking when they were young in order to cheer myself up because he would be traveling, I'd have the kids at home. Sometimes I would feel overwhelmed. So I would bake in order to cheer myself up. Oh, guys, this is creaming together really well. Yeah. So that's where my love of baking came from. So yeah, we have 4 adult sons. So that's a little bit about Mrs. D that you didn't know. I'm really enjoying this new bowl that I got for my stand mixer. It's seafood, and I love it. I love it. Some people treat themselves by getting their nails done and all of that. I treat myself by buying baking gadgets. Nothing wrong with getting your nails done, but I don't know, I love kitchen gadgets. I'm going to stop the mixer and scrape down my bowl just to make sure that all of my sugar and butter is well incorporated. And you will know when the creaming process is done because you'll be able to see that the granules and the sugar, you can't really hear them when you're scraping the sides of the bowl. So I am going to let this cream just for a couple of more minutes, and then we will add our eggs and our additional ingredients. And check and make sure that that is creamed together. Oh yeah, that looks good. Nice and fluffy. See that? And now we'll go ahead and add our eggs one at a time, making sure that before you add the next egg, the previous egg has been incorporated into the sugar and butter mixture really well. So let's add our first one and then I'll turn on the mixer. What about medium speed? Now that I can't see the yolk anymore, I'll add the next egg. And it's okay if more than one yolk falls in. Just make sure that before you add the next ingredient, that you don't see your yolks anymore. All right, and then we'll add our sour cream. Kind of separate it a little bit. That's okay. Our lemon juice. Our vanilla extract. And remember, I added lemon extract because I really want to taste the lemon in this cake. And our lemon zest. All right, let's go ahead and stop our mixer. Now, according to the recipe, your batter is going to look a little like you've added buttermilk, but that's the way it's supposed to look. That's fine. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add our flour and our milk. Now, I've learned by watching other YouTube cake ladies that you want to start with your dry and end with your dry. And that's what we're going to do here. Although with this particular recipe, it says to add all of the flour and then add all of the milk. But I'm going to start with my dry and I'm going to end with my dry because that's the way that I've learned over time to make cakes. So we're going to add half of this flour. And we're going to start our mixer, and then we're going to add our milk, and then we're going to add the remaining flour on a low speed because remember, you don't want to create too much gluten when you're making a cake. All right, that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and add all of my milk. Very good. Then I'll add the remainder of the flour. And I'm going to stop the mixer in just a moment so that I can scrape down the sides of the mixer. And also I want to make sure that all of the flour at the bottom of the bowl has been incorporated into our mix. And I'm going to do that now. Another interesting thing about Mrs. D, I was a cheerleader in high school. Yep, all 4 years of high school, I was a cheerleader. I tried out in college, but I did not make the squad. I tried out twice, but I didn't make the squad. And looking back, at the time, I was very upset that I didn't make the squad. But looking back now, I'm glad I didn't make the squad because I think that was a pivotal moment in my faith journey, I would say, not making that cheerleader squad. Because God had other things prepared for me to do. Because shortly thereafter, I met my husband. Not to say that if I were a cheerleader, I wouldn't have met my husband, but I know that I would have been a different person. I know that. Oh yeah, you probably wouldn't have been able to tell me nothing, honey, had I made that cheerleading squad. So I'm going to mix this together a little bit more and then we'll be prepared to put this in our pan. I've already preheated my oven to 350 degrees. I have added my oven thermometer because you want to make sure when baking a cake that your oven is at the correct temperature. I'm baking with gas. You may have an electric oven, but you want to make sure that your oven is at the correct temperature so that your cake can bake properly. So I've got my oven thermometer in. I had to actually set my oven to 360 in order to reach that 350 temperature that we were looking for. So like I said, I've already preheated my oven. I've prepared my baking pan with some baking spray. So we will get this in the oven in no time. Okay, it's well incorporated. Like I said, you don't want to overmix. And this is what our mix is looking like. It's not very smooth, and I think that's because of the lemon juice. So we'll go ahead and add that to our prepared pan. And guys, make sure when you're using a non-stick spray, make sure that you get all around the inside of your pan so that your cake won't stick. When I was growing up, we didn't use baking spray. We used butter and flour. That is what we used to prepare our pans when I was growing up. But now they've got this convenient baking spray, so. I like my new bowl, but I will tell you one thing. It is heavy. Make sure we got all that mixed in at the bottom. I have to start lifting weights in order to lift this thing. That may not be a bad thing though. All right, I'll hit the sides of the bowl just to knock out the air bubbles. All right, and now we'll place it in the oven for 55 minutes or until our cake tester says that it's done. Okay, so while my cake is baking in the oven, I decided to go ahead and make our glaze. But guys, I am new to this YouTube thing, so I want to apologize if the sound in this particular video sounds a little different because on the previous clip, I forgot to turn on my mic. But hey, I'm not trying to be perfect. I'm just having fun baking. So one of the gadgets that I talked about in the beginning of my in our intro was this juicer. This was gifted to me by some friends at a previous job that I had. But I think it's so convenient because whatever juice you have left over, you can actually just leave it in this container and put it in the refrigerator. So I'm going to go ahead and juice this lemon because the glaze calls for, I think, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. So I'll go ahead and juice that. All of my seeds staying at the top. Excellent. Excellent. There we go. And we're going to add 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. I'm going to add 2, and then I'll add that third if it's not to the consistency that I'm looking for. So let's just do 2. And let's say that you're doing this recipe and you make a mistake and you add all 3. Just add a little bit more powdered sugar or confectionery sugar as it's actually called. Just going to mix that together. We don't need a blender for this. And as you can see, it's still a little stiff. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add about just a little less than a tablespoon more of our lemon juice. There's no perfect recipe, I don't think, for glaze because you may want it a little thicker. You may want to taste a little bit more lemon. So it's to taste. And just like that, we've got a glaze. That wasn't hard at all. See that? And it's got like a little runny consistency because we're going to spread this all over our cake. We want it to drip down the sides and in the middle. Another thing about Mrs. D, I love to dance. I used to take Zumba for like about 5 years, and then my Zumba teacher retired. But I still dance around the house. I get on my husband's nerves, and sometimes when I'm hanging out with my kids, I get on their nerves too, because I'll break out in a little dance at any time. Doesn't matter the music, gospel, old school, yeah. That's one of my favorite sounds, hearing my oven go off. So I'm going to use my cake tester to make sure that our cake is done. If you don't have a cake tester, use a toothpick or you can use a fork. Insert it into the cake, and if it comes out with, according to this particular recipe, with a little bit of crumbs, that means that your cake is ready. I can tell by looking at the top of the cake that it's not done yet. So I'm going to add about 10 more minutes because according to our recipe, it's 55 to 70 minutes. So let's add about 10 more minutes. And when our cake is a little more golden brown on top, it should be ready. There's that sound again. Let's try and see if the cake is ready this time. Oh yeah, looks brown on the top. I'm going to insert my cake tester to see if it registers that it is done. Yep. Just like that, our cake is done. Gonna see if I could turn it so that you can see my little cake tester and see that it's registering done. I don't know if you could see that with all the light, but if you can see, it says that it's done. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna allow the cake to cool in the pan for about 10 minutes, and then we will turn it out onto a cooling rack and we will add our glaze. Okay, our 10 minutes have passed, and now we will turn our cake out onto this plate that's still a little warm. And then we will glaze our lemon pound cake. My hands are tempered, but not that tempered. Whoa, let's see. One, two, three. You get so nervous because you don't know whether or not your cake is gonna stick. Ta-da! Here we go. Oh, that looks delicious. In my grandmother's old-fashioned cake tin. Look at that. All right. And now we will glaze it. I'm going to glaze it while it's still a little warm because we want it to, seep in to all those little cake pores. And remember, this is just confectionery sugar with our fresh lemon juice. And just to let you guys know, you can freeze cake for I think up to like 3 to 4 months. I will be sharing this cake with my big sister though. So there'll be no freezing here. I want to take this time to thank you all, everyone who has subscribed to my channel and taken the time to watch my videos from beginning to end. I really, really appreciate it. I think the last time I checked, I had like 200 subscribers, and I was like, yay! And that number is growing daily, and I am so appreciative. I just enjoy baking. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And guys, I want to see some of your bakes in the comments. If you try any of my recipes, please take the time to take a picture and post it in the comments. Or if there's a recipe that you would like me to try, post that in the comments also. I think one person asked me to try, I think it's called kitchen sink cookies. I'm still going to do that. And also want to let you guys know that I am also continuing my education in baking. I've recently taken a Bread 101 class, and at the present time, I'm actually in a master class where we have learned how to make cookies and pie crust. And I think next I'm going to learn how to make, I think cinnamon rolls, but it's a French pastry class, so I'm excited. So I'm going to let this cool just a little bit more before I slice it, and I'm excited. I'm always excited because you know what's coming up next. Taste test time. Look at all that beautiful glaze. Here comes my favorite part. I've already done my dance, so here we go. Oh, it's very, very moist. And it's still a little warm. I gotta stop being so quick to taste test. All right, let's see what we're working with here. It's very moist. Look at that. See that? And you can still see some of the steam coming off of it. Let me get a fork. Now, guys, if this isn't good, I'm gonna tell you. Mm. Oh, yes, lemony, just like I like it. Guys, this is delicious. But you know what? I was thinking, I was like, they're probably gonna think everything that I bake is so good. I'm probably not gonna bake something that I don't like. I probably won't bake a German chocolate cake because I don't necessarily like German chocolate. But this is good. If you love lemon, try this cake. Try it. This is delicious. Thank you so much for watching from beginning to end. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, but comment. I want your comments. Comments, guys. If there's a recipe that you want me to try, list it in the comments below. Thank you so much. Bye.